Hello world.
Hi, sorry it's been so long since my last video, but I've been stuck on some different projects that I reached an impasse on each one and had to quickly pivot. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to get the details on your own YouTube video, such as your views, and then update the title automatically. So you've probably seen this in several videos where the title says, this video has X amount of views, and that's what we're gonna do today. In February of 2022, so this year, as of this recording, Google changed its authentication procedures. And so some of the methods that you might see in other YouTube videos have been deprecated now, and you'll receive an error on how to do it new way. You'll see once I run the code that it's still not as automatic as I would hope, and I'm probably sure I'm doing something wrong. So please, if you're an expert in Google APIs, take a look at my video and tell me how to automate the rest of it. And so let's check out how this program works. But first, welcome to the 174th video on my channel, where I'm building my own digital assistant named Shane, like Jarvis from the Iron Man movies and comics. Please consider subscribing to my channel and like this video. Thank you very much. So now let's check out how this program works. So right now we have this unlisted video called test video, and we'll check out the details. So here's the test video. There's no description. I wrote that in there, no description. And then there's no tags right here. All right, so that's what it looks like now. So now we're going to run this Flask program. So Google recommends using Flask to set up a local server. And so our local host, so that's what we'll do. So we're going to run this. And as you can see, if you're unfamiliar with Flask, it sets up a local server on your computer. I have debugger active, but let's check this out. So it takes us to this Google authentication page. I'm just going to test the authentication flow directly. Then it's going to take me to my thing. It says this verified, has this app, continue. So I don't know how to bypass all of this. I would love to bypass all of this and just run the code. But until then, press continue. And then we're going to get an API here, or response. And what we did was we updated it and we published right now. And there is one view on this. So right now the title is going to say updated video title, view count equals 1. And now the description is going to say test. All right. So now let's check it out real quick. So I'm going to close out of that. Stop it there. And now we're going to refresh the YouTube Studio. I don't know if it refreshed or not. Right. There we go. Now it has changed. It says updated video title, view count equals 1. And the description says test. And as you can see, the view count is indeed 1. Right, that's me. I looked at it on my iPhone. So that's pretty awesome. So to do this, it requires 3 separate steps. So the first one you need to do is Google, the Google Developers Console. All right. And now if you've never been here before, you're going to have to sign in to, you're going to have to sign in yourself and sign up and all that. And then you should come to here. If you've never done a project, this will all be blank. And so if you've never done a project, this will all be blank for you. So I'm going to start a new project, even though I'm using this one. So that way I can delete it after I do this YouTube. So my API key isn't out there. So go to new project. And then name your project whatever you want. So whatever you want. Leave this location blank. hide it. And then you will be here, APIs and services. So go ahead and click enable APIs and services. Now I'm using the YouTube. Let's just click that so you can see the different options. So I'm using this V3 right here, right? And I think this one too. But let's check out the V3. So I already have this API enabled. So let's switch to this. If this is your first project, you will have this. So see how it says enable now? So click enable. And it should redirect you to a new screen that you have to do once. All right, so this is what it looks like now. To use this API, you may need credentials, and you do. So you can either click here and create credentials, or go here, which is what I want to do, and go to create credentials. Now to do this, all the code you see here, you need both an API key and an O Authentication 2.0 client ID as well. So let's go ahead and create credentials. And let's start off with the API key. So this, I'm not going to blur it out because I'm just going to delete this whole project. So go ahead and copy this to your clipboard and then save it in your code somewhere. Just start a new file and just type in API key. Just call it something like API key equals like that. I'm going to delete it because I'm using my own API key, but just name it something. Okay, let's close that. And now we're going to, what's it called? Do this one. But first, now look at, there's this thing right here. Remember to configure the O authentication consent screen. So go to configure consent screen. All right, you can't click internal. So click external, then create, and now call this something. So YouTube stuff, whatever you want your app name is. Go ahead and put in a email. You can skip this, but if you're making a real logo, this is where you'd put the logo, the domain information, all of that. You don't have to add the domain if you're just doing this for your personal thing. You do have to put in a developer contact information. So go ahead and click that. Save and continue. Now you're going to go to the scopes here. So let's click add or remove scopes. Let me move my face. And go ahead and, now this is for all the scopes, but what we want is just these YouTube ones right here. So whatever you're trying to do, but if you're trying to do what I do, click this one right here. This authorization YouTube, here. No, I don't do the YouTube partner. I just do these two. Yep, that's it. But whatever, you could see all the different scopes that you can select. So we're going to update that. I'm going to move my face back. And now we have some scopes down here. So let's save and continue. You have to add in a test user. Don't know why, but same thing, just add your own email. Okay, save and continue. There we go, summary. Back to dashboard. All right, so now we have YouTube stuff. Now go back to credentials. So right now my API key is unrestricted, but that's fine because it's my own. However, if you're with a team of people creating an app for your YouTube channel, just make sure you lock that down. Now we're going to go to this auth client ID. So click create credentials again and click here. Application, desktop app. The name doesn't matter. All right, so here we go. You're gonna get a client ID and a client secret, but you don't have to copy these. Go ahead and download the JSON. And now once it's downloaded, what I recommend is changing its name to clients secret.json like this, and then moving it to your project folder. So wherever you're gonna start doing this Python, I'm using PyCharm. So I'm gonna put it in this PyCharm projects folder, YouTube views. And you can see I already did that here. If not, you can leave it in your downloads folder. You're just gonna have to explicitly link to that, and I'll show you what that means. So either or, click OK. And now we have our JSON file. All right, so that's step one. Now step two, we're gonna go into PyCharm or whatever your IDE is, and we're going to import OS, Flask. Now Flask and all of these are non-standard libraries, so you're gonna have to pip install this URL lib.request, Flask, and then these three right here. Okay, so after you pip installed it into your PyCharm, if you don't know how to do that, you go to File, Settings. This is in PyCharm. And then click on your project name, then Python interpreter, and press the install button and find the Google libraries that you need and install them. All right, ignore this one. Do not copy and paste this one. This is because I store my real keys in a separate file because I have a YouTube channel. So don't copy and paste this because we already did that step where we did API key, and you can name it to whatever you want. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the view count. So I created a function called get view count. The video ID is going to equal this video ID, and if you don't know how to do that, you go to your YouTube Studio. You can click on this right here, this details, and just copy this portion right here. Just copy and paste that. That's what's known as your video ID. Okay, so that is here into a string. Now this URL, I will slow it down, but just pass the URL. We're gonna this is a formatted string. So it's this googleapis.com YouTube v3 videos ? The part we want to look at equals statistics, and we're going to add, so add, or and ID equals this video ID, right, which we just copy and pasted. And the reason why you want to separate these is that just in case you want to pass an ID into this function, then you can pass it here and then pass it here. That way this is more dynamic. If you hard code it into the URL, you'd have to change it every time. And key, and this key is where you put in your YouTube API key. Don't copy new YouTube API key like I did. That's just what I called it. Call it whatever you put up here. Then we're going to make that a JSON. So JSON URL equals URL lib.request.URL open. Then we're going to pass it this URL. Then we're going to get a response, and that response equals the JSON.load, and we're going to load all this information in the JSON. And now all I want is the view count. So view count, so in this response, you're going to get items, and in that items, you have several things. Now we want the 0th index, which means everything in this items. And then we want statistics. And in the statistics, you can get your likes. So you can change this to likes if you want. Likes, dislikes, view count. And so, but make sure it's view, capital C, O-U-N-T, view count. Okay, and now you can print this whole response if you wanted to. If you just want to see what's in this response. In fact, we can do that together. Response. So that does mean I have to comment everything else out. Okay, and now that we're just going to print this view count. So what I did was I created a variable called view count, which we'll need in the later. And to get it, you just do get view count, and then we're going to print this view count. All right, so now let's run this. Hopefully I didn't break anything. And here we go. So what we have now is a JSON right here. So there's only one view like I showed you. And what we want is this items right here. We want the 0 with index, which allows you to access kind, e-tag, ID, and finally statistics. Then we call out statistics right here. And you can see the view count with the capital C, the like count. So I'm glad I showed you this because likes would not have worked. The favorite count, the comment count, and then other information. So that's what that looks like. So let me comment this print response out so we don't break anything. Let me clear this print count. All right. And so now we have a the view count, and that's all I need. So let's go back up here. All right, and then we stop there. Oh, I'm sorry, the client's secret file. The client secret file is secrets.json, and that's just what I called it myself. So what you need, and I'll leave a link in the description, is this code here that Google gives you, right? And so I just copy and pasted this whole thing. So copy code sample, and see in the reason why I recommend that you just call it client underscore secret is because that way you can just copy and paste all of this. So I literally copy the code sample here, and then I pretend this isn't here, and then I just copy and pasted it. Now, for the sake of me working it, I deleted most of the comments that Google has, or else this would have been 100 lines. And so do that yourself. So this is the code, and I'll leave a link in the description to this on how to do a complete example. All right. And so again, I named mine secrets from another project I was experimenting with, but you can go ahead and name it client underscore secret if you want. Then we get to the scopes. Leave all of this blank, all of this the same. Flask, again, you remember you have to what's it called? Import it. You have to import Flask. If this was something that you we're going to use the Flask projects for, and other people are going to be into it, you can use a secret key. I do not have a secret key. All of this, leave this, everything that you see, I'll tell you when to stop, is right here. So in the code that they give you is to do a simple channel look. So you're going to look at the channel snippet, and it's going to give you your about, how many subscribers. So right when you see this channel equals, we're going to stop there, and we're going to do, so I commented it out. Instead, we're going to do request equals YouTube.videos, call it .update, and then what are we going to do? The part, which is the snippet. We're going to pass it the ID. So whatever ID of the YouTube that you want to check. The snippet is the category ID, leave that 27. The default language is English. You can change that if you want. So the description, this is how we change the description. So you can change the description. You can add the tags by comma separating them. And then we do the title. So the title equals updated video title, view count equals, and then you're going to pass it a string of the view count, which we got from this function right here. Okay. So we're just using the sample code here. And instead of this channel and returning this flash.json channel, we're going to pass the request. So then you're going to do response equals request.execute, call it. This is the same. And then we're going to print the response, return the response, and then we commented out this channel details. And then everything else is literally the same from your from the code here. So that's not bad, right? And so where did I get some of this information? That's the to know how to edit the videos is right here. So we're in the API key, and this is going to give you all the information you need on videos. So it tells you to retrieve videos. So we're going to update a video here. And this tells you all the methods that you can do. So you can update a video's recording details, and then the API, you can delete the video, you can report a video. So there's quite a lot you can do with the video update. So call the videos update here, common use cases. So what we did was the sample code uses this right here, and the parameters was the part, which you saw, which what we did was the snippet. And then we went to the ID right here. And then we changed the title. Now you don't have to type in snippet.title like I did. But title, right here, the description, the tags, the default language, we didn't change. And as you can see, they deprecated the recording details, latitude and longitude. I imagine that's due to spam. So people in, not to be offensive, but a lot of spammers are in India. And so this would allow them to change their location. All right, and then these are all the possible responses, errors you might get if you want to throw the errors. And that's it. So I'll put a link in the description to the sample code for this, so you can copy and paste in it yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel so you can see this video update. So I'm going to delete this video now that I've recorded this video, and you'll see this new video, and I will update the title with the view count regularly. So please like this video. Please consider subscribing to my channel, and thanks for watching. Goodbye, world.